Here we have a circle that is intersected by two tangents. Both tangents are extending from point V. So we already have talked about how the tangents, the lengths of the segment from V to W and V to U are equal, but here we're talking about the angle. And we have this formula here that tells us that the angle that is formed by the two tangents, which is V, which is this angle here, is equal to the far arc. So from the point of tangency here at W to the point of tangency at U, the far side, or this larger arc here, if I take that first, that is the far arc, and I subtract from it the closer arc, which obviously have a sum of 360, if I subtract that and divide by 2, that is equal to my angle and always will be. So if we're going to set this up so that we can do some algebra and solve for x, we would just fill in v is equal to 5x plus 17, so 5x plus 17. That is equal to, and we have to be careful here because we are subtracting here, we need to use parentheses because we have expressions. So we need to make sure that when we fill these in that we're using expressions. So we've got 37x plus 5 because that is one value, and we're going to subtract from that another value of 23x minus 5, and then we'll divide all of that by 2. So we're going to do a few steps here. First, we want to distribute in this negative. The negative is going to carry to both, and in order to get rid of this 2, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. And yeah, that will look like this. So these are going to cancel, and I'm going to be left here with 2 times 5x plus 17, which if we go ahead and distribute is going to give us 10x plus 34 is now equal to 37x plus 5. And then we see up here this becomes negative 23x. And then when we distribute the negative to the negative 5, that becomes a positive 5. And now we can, before we start rearranging our equations, we want to make sure that both sides are simplified. Well, I'm good over here, 10x and 34, those aren't like terms, but I have some like terms here of 37x and negative 23x, so I can combine those, as well as positive 5 and positive 5. So let's combine like terms. We have 10x plus 34 is equal to 37x minus 23x would be 14x, and then 5 and 5 is equal to 10. Now both sides are simplified. We want to get all my x's on one side, so I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides, canceling here, giving me 34 is equal to 4x plus 10, and then we would subtract 10 from both sides, giving me 24 is equal to 4x, and finally divide by 4, which gives me my final answer of x is equal to 6. So if I'm solving for x, then I have my variable x is equal to 6, and if I wanted to solve for a specific, for example, if I wanted to solve for v, well then I would just plug x back into the expression and solve. But I wanted to show you real quick one more way to do this, a little bit faster way of doing this. And I'm just going to, let's see, erase that and clear that out. Oh no, let's move back. There we go. So let's clear drawings only. There we go. And share with you, this is also in your notes, that we have another quick way to do this, and we know that the relationship between this angle and this first intercepted arc. Their sum is 180 degrees. So angle V plus the measure of the close arc is equal to 180 degrees. And so we can set that up a little bit faster here. 5x plus 17 is V. We add to that, and we don't need to use parentheses because we're adding, so my signs don't change. 23x minus 5, and that is equal to 180. So a little bit easier simplifying process here. 5 and 23 is going to be 28x. And then when I combine positive 17 and negative 5, I get positive 12 is equal to 180. Then I would just subtract 12 from both sides, giving me 28x on the left is equal to 168 on the right. And then all we would need to do is divide both sides by 28. Which again gives me x is equal to 6. So a little bit faster method here if you can remember the relationship when I have two tangents between the angle and the close arc.